All right, Sistas fans. Now, if you think I'm a Karen hater, I don't really care. I'm only speaking the facts here. But I wanted to do a quick video talking about, do you think Karen is going to try to stop Andi from taking Gary back? I mean, she's made it clear. I don't feel like Karen is coming from a place of hate when she wants to quit Andi, or should I say, stop Andi from, moving forward with her own toxic decisions, because she knows who Andi is. She knows that Andi has a way of falling back into her old ways. And remember, during season 3, she made it a point to talk to like Fatima and Robin about how, I used to tell my girls everything about Gary and me, but now I just stopped. And as a result, she became extremely reckless last season. Now in this season, for whatever reason, she just decided to call up Karen as soon as she noticed the car. And as a result, we're going back to the early days where the girls are kind of stopping her from, well, let me just say Karen, stopping her from getting back with Gary, because at this point, it's season 4. There's been a lot of shit that's gone down. And I mean, for Andi to continue going to the should I, shouldn't I, it's really telling of the character. Now, with the penthouse and everything, all the girls are wowed by it. Hell, I'm just watching the promo again while doing this video on mute. I'm watching the promo on mute, and I'm just still blown away by how amazing the penthouse looks. So I just feel like it's just incredible to me that Tyler Perry has given Andi such an, or excuse me, Gary has given Andi such an upgrade. $3 million penthouse, $500,000 car, not to mention the jewelry, purses and accessories and whatnot, all in her name. I did a video about like, why is Gary pursuing her so hard? But then also at the same time, it's like, well, then again, I'm not sure if Karen will say anything, because we know in the promo, Andy's telling the girls like, he remembered the kind of house I wanted to live in, every single detail, the car I wanted to drive. And it's not confirmed whether or not she's taking him back, because when Gary comes to her first apartment, he's talking about how it's $3 million apartment in your name. What? So you can have another whore in my bed again? Or is this to get me back? I just need another chance. So it's just one of those things where Andy's going to be like, okay, what should I do? And part of me feels like Karen's going to be, well, I feel like the girls, Sabrina's just going to be, wow, I don't know, Andi, this is a nice penthouse. Danny's going to be like, girl, it's in your name, right? You ain't got to take that man back. And I feel like maybe this is going to be an episode where I'm really going to like Danny and Sabrina, as opposed to how they've been acting with the men characters lately. But when it comes to Karen, she might be quiet the entire night, because that one moment where the girls are, I think Danny's pouring drinks and he's like, oh, pour one for Karen too. She's like, I can't. Why not? And then Karen looks over. I feel like that's the moment she's going to say she's pregnant, or that's the moment Fatima's going to show up. I do feel like Karen might be, mute mouth for, most of the night, because the reason she called the sister circle was for an announcement. So she's either going to be in her feelings because A, Fatima isn't there yet, or, Andy's like, she's not coming. B, she's just looking around at this quote unquote bullshit Gary's pulling, knowing Andy's going to be tempted to go back to his arms again. C, she can't find the words. Even though, for example, there have been multiple times she could have told any of the women who have suspected something is wrong with her, or something is going on she's not telling them about. She hasn't said anything, but she's so show about getting Fatima to show up. I don't know, that's going to spur her to make the announcement or what, I don't know. But regardless, I feel like maybe she's also going to do, what is it, option C or option D, like at the end of season 4, after, at the end of season 2. Most season 2, she was telling Andi not to be involved with Gary anymore. And then she got back with Zach in her office. And in her mind, she's like, I'm going to give Zach another chance, because when the girls went over to Andy's apartment, she brings up the whole Gary engagement. And Sabrina and Danny had something to say, but they're like, they're like, Karen, what are you doing? Why aren't you saying anything? And then she mentions how she's going to get back with Zach. And as a result, she's like, you know what? Andi can do what she wants, because it's like, I can't say anything to Andi because I want to fall back into Zach. However, earlier this season, I believe, I think it was earlier this season, or was it towards the end of season 3? Or no, I think it was this season early, when she was talking to Andi, and I'm like, the way Karen was talking to Andi about moving on, it's like, I think it's when Karen found out about the Rolls Royce or something, basically saying that, you know what, I know Zach has moved on, and I'm not going to fall back, just like you're not going to fall back to Gary, right? Making it seem like there's like a sisterhood kind of moment where, hey, if I'm moving on from Zach, if you move on from Gary, so because I'm moving on, you have to as well. But if you fall back and get with Gary again, then you can't say shit about me trying to pursue Zach, despite the fact he's moved on. That's the crazy thing to me, because one person's moving on is not tethered to another. Sure, you can have somebody as like accountability partners, but it's just like when it comes to losing weight. Like, my nephew was like, you know what, I want to, eat healthier. He's lost like 6 pounds in the past few days. He's been doing good because he's literally cut out like junk food and sodas from it. And when you're young, your metabolism is a lot faster. So if you could just cut certain things from your diet, you lose weight quickly. And I remember when I think my mom was talking to him about it, he was like, yep, I'm going on a diet and you going on a diet and Jeremy going. I'm like, no. Here's the thing. You're the one who needs to lose weight. So it doesn't matter what I eat. It doesn't matter what your grandpa eats. It doesn't matter what your mama eats. When you get on that scale, when you go to the doctor, you're the one whose stats they're going to pull up. You're the one who they want to tell, hey, you need to cut back on ice cream, or you need to do this, do that. Same thing with like, if you're a believer in the faith, Christianity, when it comes to Judgment Day, you're going to be judged. It doesn't matter how often your neighbor went to church. It doesn't matter how often your sibling paid tithes and offering. You're going to be held accountable for your choices and your decisions and whatnot. So the same could be said about the Andi and Karen situation. Karen just really seems to have this whole, if you backslide, I can do the same too. Look at all the stuff that Gary put you through and you're still going back with him. Well, don't judge me for going back to Zach. I'm carrying his child. He's not married to Fatima, but guess what, Andi? You were having an affair with a married man. Honestly, Karen's been doing some crazy shit, but at the same time, she hasn't broken up the home the same way Andi did. And I know the whole Jasmine Gary marriage was already on the rocks and everything, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad. I mean, it was still up there above anything Karen has done. And no, I don't think Karen messed up Aaron's marriage. Aaron said he was getting divorced anyway. He just kind of did it to prove to... immediately Aaron proved to Karen he's a different man than Gary in the aspect of, hey, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. As opposed to Gary, who I think they were having like a 6-month affair, him and Andi, before like the first episode of the show, because I think it was Andi's birthday. So that just tells you right there, hey, Karen's awful, but she, awful Andi. So all I'm saying is, I really think that Karen, if she does say anything, she's going to call out Andi about the whole Gary thing. But I made the joke online, but at the same time, there's some truth. For all the people who said, hey, or all the people who are going to give Andi crap when she eventually gets back together with Gary, keep in mind, Valentine's Day is coming up. And there are going to be women out there who will take back a man who is as bad or even worse than Gary. And I bet none of them have received a $3 million penthouse. I'm not saying that there's any amount of money to erase abuse, but better to have a cheating person or a partner who puts you up in a house than to have a cheating partner staying in your apartment where you pay rent and all the bills and all they do is cheat on you, have multiple baby mamas, and you still love him. That's all I'm saying. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I do feel like Karen is the kind of person, she's proved it on multiple occasions where she'll call somebody out for their bullshit if she gets called out for hers. I mean, Danny, no wonder her and Danny kind of, have friction a lot, because those two are so similar, believe it or not. So thanks so much for tuning in. I really do think that Karen is going to use Andi reconciling with Gary possibly as a way to deflect any kind of attack on her still trying to pursue Zach. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you know when I post content on the channel. If you aren't getting notifications, you may need to switch it up by unsubscribing, hitting subscribe again, hitting the bell icon again so you know what's going down. Also, join the Sistas Facebook group. It's on Facebook, of course, 260,000 members strong. Like I always say in every video, the social media links to all my accounts are in the description box. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.